In this video, I would like to pay tribute to Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed and Lorraine Warren were considered America's experts on demonology and spirits, with Ed as a demonologist and Lorraine as a clairvoyant. In their time on Earth, they encountered many acts of the paranormal. Cases where priests become possessed, cases where people are physically attacked, cases where unworldly entities manifest and reside in the homes of its victims, cases where a physical environment is completely rearranged, cases where spirits do not just haunt a home, they tear it apart. Allow us to tell you a true story of how the Warrens became a household name in the paranormal circuit. This is It Paranormal? Ed Warren was born in Bridgeport, Connecticut on September 7th, 1926. He himself grew up into the paranormal. From ages 5 to 12 years old, he lived in a haunted house in Connecticut. There he witnessed his first glimpse of the unknown. It was during the night, and his parents had gone to bed. He himself, also in bed, witnessed his closet door open. He decided to look into the dark closet. That is when he began to see a light form and morph into the shape of a basketball. And over time, he began to see a face within that ball. Ed Warren stated that the face he saw was of an old woman, which eventually would follow him into his bedroom, accompanied by audible footsteps and heavy breathing. The room turned unnaturally cold, and Ed would attempt to find a logical reason for this. He never could find a suitable answer. When Ed Warren was 16, he got a job working as an usher at a theater in Bridgeport, Connecticut. It was there that he met Lorraine Rita Moran, aka his future wife. Lorraine Warren was born January 31st, 1927 in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Lorraine and her mother were regulars of the theater, and Ed was infatuated with her. They quickly became friends and then lovers. Lorraine, knowing of her clairvoyancy early in her age, knew that sometime in the future Ed Warren would be her husband. Ed Warren went into the Navy on his 17th birthday, and 4 months later, after his ship sank in the North Atlantic, he was home for 30-day survivor leave. It was during that leave that the two were married. When Ed returned after World War II, he and Lorraine had a daughter named Judy. Ed then went to Perry Art School for 2 years. Ed grew frustrated with his teachers. Believing his art was much more advanced than that of his teachers, he decided to buy a car and travel and sell his art from out of it. It was actually through painting that the Warrens began their ghost investigations. If Ed heard of any place that claimed to be haunted, whether a haunted house or a haunted location, he would bring Lorraine along. Being still young and not very known, they devised a scheme to enter these homes. Ed would sketch a picture of the house they wanted to enter, add ghosts coming out of them, and Lorraine would deliver the painting to them. They would then talk to the homeowners one-on-one. Ed wanted to see if the things happening to those families matched what happened to his family. Through his art, the ghost investigator's journey had begun. In 1952, the New England Society for Psychic Research was founded, as well as the creation of the Occult Museum, which is home of the supposed possessed doll Annabelle, as well as many other artifacts that have been touched by evil. The goal at first was to simply investigate hauntings. Then, around 1965, the Warrens went into the home and spoke with the spirit of a little girl named Cynthia. They listened to the little girl coming through a deep trance medium, and she was looking for her mother. Lorraine and Ed believed it was horrible to think that this little girl was stuck on this earth searching for her mother day in and day out. They wanted to help any way they could. It was no longer just experiencing the hauntings. Now the Warrens wanted to help. In order to gain knowledge, Ed began interviewing priests, clergymen, and rabbis, to which he would ask what-if scenarios like, if somebody called you and said there was a ghost in the house, what would you do? Some would respond with, I would tell them to go see a psychiatrist, and others, I'd go to the house and I'd bless it. If the blessing didn't work, I'd say a mass, and if the mass didn't work, I'd perform the rite of exorcism. This allowed the Warrens a more biblical approach on spirits. The New England Society of Psychic Research's work is based in religion, but also uses science. Medical doctors, researchers, police officers, nurses, college students, scientists, and housewives are all dedicated members who volunteer their services. During this time, Ed became a self-taught demonologist who earned the title of the only non-clergy demonologist recognized by the Vatican. Needing gifted people like Lorraine, they hired many mediums and clairvoyants. The Warrens believed that they were necessary to tell if a home was haunted. Many times they would bring 3 or 4 clairvoyants to one place. They would take them into the house one at a time, refuse to tell them about the case, and see if they see a woman, man, or child spirit in the rooms. This allowed them to be put on the right track. During their journeys, they tackled supposedly 10,000 haunted locations, and became best-selling authors for their experiences, to which many of their endeavors went on to become household classic movies like Amityville Horror, The Haunting in Connecticut, The Conjuring, and Annabelle, just to list a few. Ed Warren passed away on August 23, 2006, of complications from a stroke at the age of 79. 13 years later, Lorraine Warren passed in her sleep on April 18, 2019, at the age of 92. With Lorraine's recent passing, the Occult Museum is said to be left to their son-in-law, Tony Spera, who has been taking care of the museum for many years now. It's no surprise that the duo was met with a bunch of skepticism throughout their lives, with some people believing that everything they did was for monetary gain. Even so, these two popularized a platform to question the unknown. For this alone, they will always have a place in the history in regards to the paranormal. In fact, some of their cases are some we will look into through our journey to cover the unknown. Their cases will allow us to question, is it paranormal? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to help our channel grow.